Hello, today I'm going to do a little work on the reformer, working on my pelvis and my hips. I want to work on the mobility of my hips as well as the stability of my core. I'm going to start on my back, and I have one red spring on right now. I'm actually going to throw 2 reds and 1 blue on. And then I'm going to bring my feet to hip width distance. Shoulders are against the blocks, but I'm not jamming my shoulders up. I've got my hip points pointing straight up to the ceiling. A little brace on my core, exhale, press away, and then I inhale, come back. So I always like to just start with a little movement of the carriage to kind of see where my pelvis is at and feel how my body's moving today. And then I'm going to bring myself into second position, which is heels together, toes apart, and do the same thing. Now, as I'm in this second position and I'm pressing out, I really want to feel the inner thighs zip together. I feel the glutes engage. I feel the quads engage as well, the muscles on the front of my thighs, but I'm not just jamming into my knee joints. So I'm really feeling supported in my inner thighs and my quads. Okay, so this is my second position. And then I'm going to open my feet up kind of to the edges of the foot bar. And I'm in that second position again where my toes are apart and my heels are relatively together, so my feet are in a bit of a V. And in this position, with the carriage closed, I'm going to spiral my knees towards one another, exhale, press away, open my thighs up by spiraling my thighs out, inhale and come back. So now I'm moving slowly through this range of motion, and as I'm doing this, so in this position with the stopper, the carriage closed with the stopper, my SI joints in the back are compressing. I'm widening through the thigh area. As I press away, I feel the glutes tighten around the back of the thighs and the sacrum. Then I'm going to spiral my knees together, or my toes together, so I knock my thighs in, bring the legs back together, and then spiral back out. So I'm moving through very intentionally this range of motion. As I do this, I feel like I'm stirring my long bone of my thigh or my femur in the hip socket. And then I'm just going to reverse this. So this is great for getting mobility. Now knees are together, I press out. The legs are straight, I open the toes, the knees, and I come back in. So I'm just slowly moving through these motions, getting a little movement in my femurs, in my SI joint, and I can feel that. If I put my hands on the back of my thighs, I can feel some movement right at the 2 bumps at the very top of my glutes or at the bottom of my lower back. Okay, so now that I've had that movement in my thighs, I'm going to walk my feet back in to about hip width distance, so my heels are in line with my sitting bones. Keeping the heels on the mat, I'm going to bring my hands down to help myself a little bit. Exhale, press away. I'm going to lift myself up, so I'm really squeezing with my tush, and then I'm going to slowly bring the carriage in. I'm using my thighs and my hamstrings, and I articulate my body back down so that I'm flat on the reformer, and exhale, press out again. And then I lift through my glutes. I feel a lot of activity in the back body, lengthening through the front of the thighs. I'm slowly letting the carriage come in. So I'm using the muscles in my legs to control that motion. I roll my pelvis back down and reset. And exhale, press away. I'm not locking my knees, but I am firm through the thighs. Toes towards my nose. I lift the glutes, bend the knees, controlling that motion in, and then slowly roll my pelvis down. Next thing, I'm going to have my feet hip width distance. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to come up into a bridge, one leg up. Without letting the pelvis drop, I switch the other leg up. Okay, so I feel a lot of activity in the hamstrings right now. If I wanted a little extra challenge, I could reach the hands up to the ceiling. And again, I want the pelvis to stay pretty steady. And then if I wanted even more of a challenge, I could take a weighted ball or a dumbbell, 4 or 5 pounds. I can keep that on my chest, come down for a second. As I press up into my bridge, I can lift the dumbbell up and then pass it under one leg and then pass it under the other leg. So doing a little pass of a weight as I do the march, okay? So those are some options for progressing through that bridge march. And those are some exercises to do on the reformer for the glutes, the thighs, and the hamstrings and hips.